The snow was coming down hard, turning Chicago's streets into a blur of white and gray, and Sophie Vance had promised herself she would not make eye contact with anyone tonight. That promise lasted exactly 12 minutes. The jazz lounge called Velvet was dimly lit, all dark wood and soft amber lights, packed with people who looked like they belonged in a different tax bracket. Sophie stood near the coat check, tugging at her dress, wondering why she'd let Jules drag her here. "You need this," Jules had said that afternoon, painting her nails electric blue on Sophie's couch. "You've been sending resumes for 3 months. Tomorrow's interview could change everything. Tonight you celebrate early." "I don't have the job yet," Sophie had replied. "Then celebrate the possibility." Now, standing in this place that smelled like expensive whiskey and old money, Sophie felt wildly out of place. "Stop looking like you're about to bolt," Jules said, appearing at her elbow with 2 drinks. "Here, liquid courage." "I don't need courage, I need rent money." Same thing in this economy. Sophie took the drink, let the burn settle in her chest. The music was good at least. A saxophone player on the small stage, notes curling through the air like smoke. She turned toward the sound. That's when she saw him. He stood near the bar, tall and solid in a long black coat that looked like it cost more than her entire wardrobe. Dark hair, sharp jaw, the kind of face that made you forget what you were thinking about. He wasn't smiling, wasn't trying to catch anyone's attention. He was just there, absolutely still in a room full of motion. And he was staring directly at her. Sophie's breath caught. His eyes were dark, intense, locked on her like she was the only person in the room. She looked away fast, heat rushing to her face. "Oh my God," Jules whispered. "That man is looking at you like you're the last flight out of a burning city." "Stop. I'm serious, look at him." "I'm not looking." "He's still looking." Sophie risked a glance. He was. "Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Aurora Love Stories. I'm so glad you're here for this journey with Sophie and Damon. If you're new to our little corner of YouTube, we tell stories about love that feels real, the messy, complicated, heart-pounding kind. This is only our 2nd video, and honestly, your support would mean the world. If you're already hooked, and I think you might be, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us know you want more stories like this. Now, let's get back to Sophie, because her life is about to get very interesting. Their eyes met again, held. The air between them felt suddenly charged, heavy, impossible to ignore. Someone bumped into Sophie from behind. Her drink sloshed. She stumbled forward, catching herself on the edge of a table. A hand caught her elbow. Strong, steady, warm even through her sleeve. She looked up. He was right there, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something clean and dark and expensive. Close enough to see the precise line of his jaw, the intensity in his eyes that hadn't softened one bit. "Careful," he said. His voice was low, rough, the kind of voice that made you pay attention. "I'm fine," she managed. "Sorry, someone." "I saw." He didn't let go of her elbow. "This place gets crowded fast." "Yeah, I noticed." Up close, he was devastating. Not pretty boy handsome. Something harder, more controlled. Like he'd seen things that changed him and decided to keep going anyway. "You don't look like you come here often," he said. "Is that obvious?" "You keep checking the exits." Her stomach flipped. "Maybe I just like knowing where they are." A small smile touched his mouth. Brief but real. "Smart." His thumb brushed the inside of her wrist before he released her. The touch sent a shock straight through her body. "I'm Damon," he said. "Sophie." He repeated it slowly, like he was memorizing the shape of it. "Sophie." The way he said her name made her knees feel unsteady. "And you?" she asked. "Do you come here often?" "Not for the music." "Then why?" His eyes held hers. "Tonight?" "Because I saw someone I wanted to meet." Her heart hammered. "That's a line. It's the truth." The saxophone hit a low note. The lights dimmed just slightly. The crowd pressed closer around them. Damon's hand found her waist, light, asking permission. "Dance with me," he said. It wasn't really a question. Sophie should have said no, should have remembered every promise she'd made to herself about focusing on her career, about not getting distracted by men who looked like trouble wrapped in expensive coats. Instead, she nodded. He led her onto the floor, one hand still on her waist, the other catching hers. They started moving together. Slow, close. His body was solid against hers, his movements confident but not aggressive. "You're good at this," she said. "I've had practice." "With strangers?" His eyes darkened. "Only the ones I can't stop looking at." Heat rushed through her body. They moved together like they'd done this before, like they knew each other's rhythm. His hand slid lower on her back. Her fingers tightened on his shoulder. Every point of contact felt electric. "Tell me something," he said, voice lower now. "What are you running from?" She blinked. "What makes you think I'm running?" "Because you looked ready to disappear the second I walked over." She swallowed. "Maybe I'm just careful." "Good," he said. "You should be." "And you?" she asked. "What are you running from?" His jaw tightened. For a moment, something vulnerable flickered across his face. "Everything I can't control." The honesty in his voice caught her off guard. The song changed, slower now, more intimate. Damon pulled her closer. Her chest brushed his. His breath stirred her hair. Her heart was racing so fast she thought he might feel it. "Can I kiss you?" he asked. The question was direct, honest. No games. Sophie looked up at him, at the intensity in his eyes, at the way his hand rested on her lower back like he was holding something precious. She should say no. She didn't want to. "Yes," she whispered. He lowered his head slowly, giving her time to change her mind. She didn't. His mouth found hers in a kiss that erased every coherent thought from her brain. Warm, sure, deep enough to make her gasp. His hand slid up to cup the back of her neck, holding her exactly where he wanted her. Sophie kissed him back without hesitation, her fingers curled into his coat. His other hand tightened on her waist, pulling her flush against him. The kiss deepened. Heat flooded through her body. She tasted whiskey on his tongue and felt the scrape of his jaw against her skin. When they finally broke apart, both of them were breathing hard. "That was," she started. "Necessary," he finished. She laughed, breathless. "I was going to say unexpected." "Was it?" His eyes searched hers. "Felt inevitable to me." Before she could respond, a man in a dark suit appeared beside them. He leaned close to Damon's ear, said something quiet. Damon's expression changed instantly, hardened. "I have to go," he said, turning back to Sophie. "Now?" "Yes." He looked genuinely frustrated. "Give me your number." "That's very direct." "I don't have time to be subtle." Something in his tone made her pull out her phone. They exchanged numbers quickly, fingers brushing as he handed her phone back. "I'll call you," he said. "You better." He held her gaze for one more second. Then he was gone, disappearing into the crowd with the man in the suit. Jules materialized beside her. "What just happened?" Sophie stared at the spot where Damon had been standing. "I have no idea." "Did you get his number?" "Yes." "Does he know you have a job interview tomorrow?" Sophie's stomach dropped. "Oh God, the interview!" She'd completely forgotten. The next morning, Sophie stood in front of the glass tower that housed Cross Dynamics, snowflakes catching in her hair, nerves eating at her stomach. This was it. The interview that could change everything. She dressed carefully, navy blazer, white blouse, pencil skirt, hair pulled back in a low ponytail. Professional, competent, forgettable in the best way. Inside, the lobby was all chrome and marble, expensive, intimidating. A woman in a sharp gray suit met her at reception. "Sophie Vance?" "Yes." "Karen Mills, office manager. Follow me." They took the elevator to the top floor. Karen asked basic questions. Experience, skills, availability, Sophie answered on autopilot, trying to calm the racing of her heart. "Mr. Kross likes to meet candidates personally," Karen said as they walked down a quiet hallway. "He's particular about who works closely with him." "I understand." They stopped outside a large office. Glass walls, view of the Chicago skyline, a massive desk. "Wait here," Karen said. "He'll call you in." Sophie stood outside the door, smoothing her skirt, practicing her opening line. The door opened. "Come in," a man's voice called. She stepped inside. The chair behind the desk was turned toward the window. She could only see the back of it, a silhouette against the winter light. "Mr. Kross, this is Sophie Vance," Karen said. The chair turned. Sophie's heart stopped. It was him, the man from the bar. The one who'd kissed her like the world was ending. The one whose number was still saved in her phone. Damon. Except apparently his name wasn't just Damon. "Miss Vance," he said, his voice perfectly controlled. But his eyes were anything but calm. They locked onto hers with the same intensity from last night, except now shock flickered beneath the surface. "Mr. Kross," she managed, her voice barely steady. Karen looked between them. "Have you two?" "No," Damon said too quickly. "We haven't met." Sophie's mind raced. He was lying. Why was he lying? "Please sit," he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. Her legs moved on autopilot. She sat, tried to breathe. Karen excused herself, closing the door behind her. The silence was deafening. Damon stared at her. She stared back. "You?" he finally said. "You?" she echoed. "This is unexpected," she finished, using his word from last night. A muscle in his jaw ticked. "That's one word for it. You're the CEO. And you're interviewing to be my assistant." "I didn't know." "Neither did I." He stood, pacing to the window, running a hand through his hair. When he turned back, his expression was carefully controlled again. "This is a problem." Her stomach sank. "I'll leave. No." The word came out sharp. He took a breath. "I'm not letting you walk out of here." "But you just said—" "I said it's a problem. I didn't say I wanted you to leave." He moved back to his desk, bracing his hands on it. "Your resume is good. Karen said you tested well. The team needs someone who can handle chaos without breaking. I can do that." "Can you handle working for someone you kissed 12 hours ago?" Heat flooded her face. "Can you?" His eyes darkened. "I don't know yet." The honesty disarmed her. "Here's what's going to happen," he said, his voice dropping into something more commanding. "I'm going to offer you this job because you're qualified. Because I need someone competent, not because of last night." "Okay. But," he continued, leaning forward slightly, "what happened at that bar? That stays there. In this office, I'm your boss. You're my assistant. Nothing more." Something twisted in her chest. "Understood." "Do you?" She met his gaze head-on. "Yes, Mr. Kross, I understand completely." He studied her face like he was searching for cracks. "When can you start?" "Tomorrow." "Good." He opened a folder, sliding paperwork across the desk. "Sign these. Karen will go over benefits and protocols. Your desk is outside this office. You'll manage my schedule, handle calls, coordinate meetings. The hours are long. The work is demanding." "I can handle it." "I know you can," he said quietly. "That's why I'm hiring you." Their eyes met again. Held. The air between them felt impossibly heavy. Sophie signed the papers with shaking hands. When she stood to leave, he didn't move. At the door, she paused. "Mr. Kross." "Yes, Miss Vance." "Thank you for the opportunity." His jaw tightened. "Don't thank me yet." She left before she could ask what he meant. In the elevator, she leaned against the wall, heart pounding. She'd just taken a job working for the man who'd kissed her like he couldn't breathe without her. This was either the best decision she'd ever made, or the worst. Sophie arrived at 7:30 the next morning, coffee in hand, nerves humming under her skin. Her desk sat directly outside Damon's office. Glass walls meant she could see inside, which meant he could see her. Karen appeared with a stack of files. "Welcome to Controlled Chaos. This is the calendar. These are active contracts. These are people who will call demanding immediate access to Mr. Kross. How do I know who to put through?" "You'll learn fast, or you'll drown," Karen smiled. "He's tough but fair. Don't take his tone personally. And for God's sake, don't cry in the bathroom. He hates that." Noted. The morning blurred into a flurry of calls and emails. Sophie organized files, cross-referenced schedules, confirmed meetings. By 10, her head was spinning. At 10:30, Damon's door opened. He stood there in a charcoal suit, tie slightly loosened, sleeves rolled up to his forearms. "Miss Vance," she looked up. "Yes, Mr. Kross?" "Come in. Bring your notebook." She grabbed it and followed him inside. He closed the door. The space suddenly felt smaller. "How's your first morning?" he asked, moving behind his desk. "Busy, but manageable." "Good," he gestured to the chair. "Sit." She sat, pen poised over paper. I have a gala tomorrow night, he said. Black tie, charity event. You'll accompany me. Her pen froze. I will? You'll handle the guest list. Keep conversations moving. Make sure I don't get trapped by people who talk too much. That sounds like a diplomatic way of saying you hate small talk. His mouth curved slightly. I hate wasted time. Understood. He handed her a list of names. These people matter. These people don't. Learn the difference. She scanned the list. What should I wear? Something appropriate. That's not helpful. He looked up. Their eyes met. Something flickered in his gaze before he locked it down. Something that won't make me forget why we're there. Her breath caught. He cleared his throat. Karen can help you if needed. Anything else? No, Mr. Kross. Good. You can go. She stood, turned toward the door. Sophie. She looked back. His eyes were darker now, intense. This stays professional. I know. Do you? Yes, she said firmly. I won't make this complicated. He studied her face. Too late for that. The words hung between them like a challenge. Sophie left before she could respond. At her desk, she pressed her fingers to her chest, feeling her heart hammer against her ribs. 2 days working for Damon Kross. And she already knew one thing for certain. Professional distance was going to be impossible. The next evening, Sophie stood in her apartment staring at the black dress Jules had shoved into her hands that morning. It's perfect, Jules had said. Elegant, sexy, not trying too hard. I'm going as his assistant, not his date, Sophie had protested. Does he know that? Now, looking at herself in the mirror, Sophie had to admit the dress worked. It hugged her curves without being obvious. The neckline was modest but flattering. With her hair up and simple earrings, she looked like she belonged at a high-end charity gala. Her phone buzzed. Damon. Car will be there at 7:30. Don't be late. Sophie. I won't. Damon. And Sophie? Her heart jumped at seeing her first name. Sophie. Yes? Damon. Thank you for doing this. She stared at the message. It was the first time he'd shown any softness since that moment in the bar. Sophie. It's my job. Damon. I know, but still. At 7:30, a black sedan pulled up. The driver opened the door for her. Inside, Damon sat in the far seat, looking impossibly good in a tuxedo that fit like it had been made for him, which it probably had been. His eyes swept over her when she slid in. For 1 second, his control slipped. Something hot and hungry flickered across his face before he masked it. You look appropriate, he said. She almost laughed. That's the second time you've used that word with me. It's accurate. It's safe. His jaw tightened. Safe is the point. The car pulled into traffic. Snow fell softly against the windows. This event, he said, sliding into business mode. Major donors, board members, media, were there to be seen, to show support, to make connections. What do you need from me? Stay close. If someone starts talking about golf or their vacation home for more than 3 minutes, intervene. How? You'll figure it out. He glanced at her. You're smart. That's why I hired you. I thought you hired me because I tested well. That too. The venue was stunning. The Field Museum lit up like a palace, snow falling around it like something from a dream. Cameras flashed the moment they stepped out. Damon's hand found the small of her back. Light. Professional. But Sophie felt it like a brand. Smile, he murmured. Or don't. They'll take the photo either way. She gave a small, calm smile as they walked inside. The ballroom was breathtaking. Chandeliers, white flowers, people in designer gowns and perfect tuxedos. Stay with me, Damon said, quietly, as if she could go anywhere else. They moved through the crowd. Damon shook hands, exchanged pleasantries, his public persona smooth and controlled. But Sophie felt the tension in his body every time someone stood too close to her. A man in an expensive suit approached, eyes lingering on Sophie a beat too long. Damon, the man said, good to see you. And who is this? My assistant, Sophie Vance. Charming, the man said, reaching for her hand. Damon's fingers tightened imperceptibly on her waist. Sophie extracted her hand smoothly. Nice to meet you. The man started talking about tax incentives. Sophie watched Damon's expression glaze over. After exactly 3 minutes, she touched Damon's arm lightly. "I'm so sorry to interrupt," she said to the man, "but Mr. Kross is needed by the event coordinator." "Of course," the man said, clearly disappointed. When they walked away, Damon leaned down. "Nicely done. You looked like you were about to fall asleep standing up." "I was." A woman in a red dress intercepted them near the bar. Beautiful, confident. Her hand landed on Damon's arm like she had a right to touch him. "Damon," she purred, "you never call anymore." "I've been busy, Vanessa." "Too busy for old friends?" Her fingers trailed down his sleeve. Sophie's stomach twisted with something she absolutely did not want to name. "I have a very demanding schedule," Damon said, his tone polite but distant. "Maybe I could help you relax." Sophie felt her jaw tighten. Professionally, she should stay quiet. Professionally. "Actually," Sophie said smoothly, "Mr. Kross has a call scheduled in 10 minutes. We should head to the quiet area." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "And you are?" "His assistant." "How convenient." Damon's hand moved from Sophie's waist to her lower back, more possessive now. "If you'll excuse us, Vanessa." They walked away. Sophie's heart was racing. "There's no call," Damon said quietly. "I know." He steered her toward a quieter hallway. "You were jealous." "I was being efficient." "Sophie." She looked up at him. "She was touching you." His eyes darkened. And I didn't like it." The admission hung between them. Damon stepped closer. They were alone in the hallway now, the noise of the gala distant. "This is a problem," he said, voice rough. "I know. I told myself I could keep this professional." "You can." "Can I?" His hand came up to cup her jaw. "Because right now, all I can think about is kissing you again." Her breath hitched. "Damon?" "I know," he said. "I know all the reasons why we shouldn't. You work for me. This could complicate everything. But standing here watching other men look at you, watching that woman touch me while you stood there trying not to react. I wasn't. You were." His thumb brushed across her bottom lip. "And I liked it." Sophie's pulse hammered. "This is unprofessional. I don't care." "You should tell me to stop," he said quietly. "Tell me you don't want this, and I'll walk away right now." She should. She should absolutely tell him to stop. Instead, she leaned into his touch. "I can't," she whispered. He kissed her, not soft, not tentative. Like he'd been holding back for days, and couldn't anymore. Sophie kissed him back with everything she had. His hand slid to her waist, pulling her against him. Her fingers curled into his jacket. The kiss deepened. Heat flooded through her body. His other hand tangled in her hair, tilting her head back. When they finally broke apart, both of them were breathing hard. "We should go back," Sophie managed. "I don't want to." "Someone will notice." He pressed his forehead against hers. "Let them." "Damon, I know." He took a breath, stepping back. "You're right." They straightened their clothes. Sophie checked her reflection in a nearby mirror, fixing her hair. When they walked back into the ballroom, everything looked the same, but Sophie knew nothing actually was. The next morning, Sophie arrived early, needing the quiet to settle her thoughts. Last night had changed something, the kiss, the admission. The way Damon had looked at her like he was done pretending. She was organizing files when heavy footsteps approached. A man she didn't recognize stood at her desk, tall, intimidating. Dark suit, cold eyes. "You're Sophie," he said. "Yes. I'm Silas, Mr. Kross's head of security." She'd heard the name. Hadn't met him yet. "Nice to meet you." "Is it?" He studied her like she was a problem to solve. "You've been here 3 days, already causing complications." Her spine straightened. "Excuse me." "The gala. You two disappeared for 15 minutes. Heat rushed to her face. "We were discussing business." "Were you?" It wasn't a question. "Yes." Silas leaned closer. "Let me be clear, Miss Vance. Damon Kross is not just a CEO. He runs an operation that requires absolute focus. Distractions get people hurt. Are you a distraction? No. Then prove it. Keep your feelings out of his decisions." Before she could respond, Damon's office door opened. "Silas," Damon said, his voice cold. "We have a problem?" "Just introducing myself to Miss Vance." Looked more like intimidation. Silas's expression didn't change. "She's a liability." "That's my call to make." "Is it?" Silas challenged. Or is your judgment already compromised? Damon's jaw clenched. My office, now. They disappeared inside. Through the glass walls, Sophie watched them argue. Couldn't hear the words, but the body language was clear. Silas was warning him. Damon was refusing to listen. After 10 minutes, Silas left, casting one last look at Sophie. A warning. Damon called her in. She entered, closing the door. Ignore him, Damon said immediately. He's not wrong. He is. Am I a distraction? She asked quietly. Damon moved around the desk, standing in front of her. Yes, but not the kind he thinks. What kind then? The kind I don't want to give up. His hand lifted, fingers brushing her cheek. I tried, Sophie. I tried to keep this professional. But I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop wanting you close. Can't stop. His phone rang. He closed his eyes in frustration, then grabbed it. What? His expression changed instantly. When? How many? I'll be there in 20. He ended the call, already moving. What's wrong? Sophie asked. Situation, I have to go. Let me help. No. The word was sharp. You stay here. Damon. I need you safe, Sophie. That means staying away from this part of my life. What part? He looked at her. For the first time, she saw fear in his eyes, not for himself, for her. The part that could hurt you, he said quietly. Then he was gone. Sophie stood alone in his office, heart pounding. She just realized something terrifying. Damon Kross wasn't just a CEO, and whatever he was involved in ran deeper and more dangerous than she'd imagined. Sophie didn't see Damon for the rest of the day. His office stayed dark. His calls went to voicemail. Even Karen looked worried. Is this normal? Sophie asked quietly. Karen glanced at the empty office. Define normal. Him disappearing without explanation. It happens. Karen's expression softened. He always comes back. Try not to worry. But Sophie was worrying. By 6, most of the office had cleared out. Sophie sat at her desk, pretending to work, actually just staring at her computer screen. Her phone buzzed. Damon, go home. I'll be late. Sophie, are you okay? No response. Sophie, Damon, still nothing. She grabbed her coat and bag, but instead of heading to the elevator, she knocked on Silas's office door. Come in. He sat behind a massive desk covered in monitors, security footage, schedules, maps. Miss Vance, he said without looking up. What do you want? Where is he? Handling business. What kind of business? Now Silas looked at her. The kind you don't need to know about. He's been gone all day. He won't answer my messages. Something's wrong. Something's always wrong. Silas leaned back. That's what happens when you run an operation like this. What operation? His eyes narrowed. You really don't know, do you? Know what? Silas studied her for a long moment. Then he pulled up something on his computer, turned the screen toward her. It showed a map. Locations marked with red dots. Names she didn't recognize. Shipment schedules. Coded messages. Cross Dynamics isn't just logistics, Silas said. It's a network, information brokerage. We move things that other companies can't. We know things that governments wish we didn't. And we operate in spaces where one wrong move gets people killed. Sophie's stomach dropped. He's in danger. He's always in danger. That's the point. Silas closed the screen. And now, so are you. Because he cares about you, which makes you leverage. I didn't ask for this. No one ever does. He stood. Go home, Miss Vance. When he's ready to explain, he will. Until then, stay out of the way. Sophie left, hands shaking. She took the train home in a daze, climbed the stairs to her apartment. Sat on her couch in the dark. Her phone stayed silent. Around midnight, it finally rang. Damon's name on the screen. She answered immediately. Are you okay? Yes. His voice was rough, tired. I'm sorry, I should have called sooner. What happened? A pause. I can't tell you over the phone. Then tell me in person. Sophie, I'm not letting you push me away, she said firmly. Not after last night. Not after you kissed me like that and told me you couldn't stop thinking about me. If this is who you are, if this is what your life looks like, then show me. Silence stretched between them. My address is 2200 North Lakeshore Drive, he said finally. Penthouse. Come now. I'll be there in 30 minutes. She grabbed her coat and ran. The building was exactly what she expected. Luxury, security. The kind of place where doormen wore suits and elevators required keycards. Damon had left her name at the desk. The doorman handed her a keycard, without question. The elevator ride felt endless. When the doors opened directly into his penthouse, Sophie's breath caught. Floor-to-ceiling windows. View of the lake and skyline. Minimalist furniture, dark wood. Everything expensive but understated. Damon stood by the windows, still in his suit from this morning, tie gone, sleeves rolled up, hair disheveled like he'd been running his hands through it. He turned when she entered. "You came," he said. "You asked me to." He moved toward her slowly. "I wasn't sure you would. After what Silas probably told you." "He told me enough." Damon stopped a few feet away. "And you're still here." "I'm still here." Something in his expression cracked. Relief, disbelief, gratitude. "I'm not just a CEO," he said quietly. "Cross Dynamics is legitimate. But it's also a front for something bigger. We run a network called the Vanguard. Information brokerage. Crisis prevention. We stop problems before they become wars. You're a fixer, in a sense." He took a breath. "I make decisions that keep things stable, that protect people who can't protect themselves. Sometimes those decisions are gray, sometimes they're dangerous. Today? A situation that could have escalated. It didn't because we intervened. But it required every resource I have and complete focus." Sophie stepped closer. "That's why Silas said I'm a distraction." "You are," Damon admitted. "But not because you weaken me. Because you make me care about something beyond the next crisis. And that scares him." "Does it scare you?" He looked at her with raw honesty. "Terrifies me." "Why?" "Because people I care about become targets," he said. "Because my world is full of enemies who would use you against me. Because I've spent years building walls, and you walked through them like they were paper." Sophie's chest tightened. "So what do you want?" "I want you," he said simply. "In my life, in my home, in every part of this chaos. But I need you to understand what that means. Tell me." He moved closer now, close enough to touch. "It means bodyguards. It means questions you can't ask. It means trusting me when I tell you to stay away from something. It means living with the knowledge that my enemies might see you as a weakness. And I will protect you with everything I have," he said fiercely. "But I can't promise it will always be safe." Sophie reached up, cupping his face. "I don't need safe. I need honest." His eyes closed. "I'm giving you a way out, Sophie, before this goes any further. Before, I don't want out." His eyes opened, dark, intense, searching hers. "You should." "I know," she stepped closer, closing the distance between them. "But I don't, because when I'm with you, I feel more alive than I have in years. Because you look at me like I matter. Because this," she gestured between them, "whatever this is, feels real." "It is real," he said roughly. "That's the problem." "No." Sophie shook her head. "That's the point." Damon stared at her for one long moment. Then he kissed her, different from the other times. Not rushed, not desperate. Like he was memorizing her. Like he was making a promise. Sophie kissed him back with everything she had. Her fingers slid into his hair. His hands found her waist, pulling her against him. The kiss deepened. Heat flooded through her body. His mouth moved to her jaw, her neck, his breath hot against her skin. "Sophie," he murmured. "If we do this—" "I know. There's no going back. I don't want to go back." He lifted his head, eyes blazing. "Stay with me tonight." Her heart hammered. "Yes." He kissed her again, slower now, leading her toward his bedroom. The space was dark, intimate, the city lights beyond the windows casting soft shadows. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to hers. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted quietly. "Do what?" "Care about someone this much. Be vulnerable. Let someone see all of me." Sophie's eyes stung. "Then we'll figure it out together." He pulled her down onto the bed, wrapping around her like he was afraid she'd disappear. They didn't rush, took their time learning each other. The kiss deepened into something more, clothes falling away, barriers breaking down. Damon made love to her like she was precious, like she was something worth protecting, like she was the one good thing in his complicated, dangerous world. Afterward, they lay tangled together, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on her skin. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now," he said quietly, "we deal with reality." "Which is?" "The office will talk. Silas will object. Some people will think you're using me. Others will think I'm using you." "And what do we think?" He tilted her chin up. "I think you're the best thing that's happened to me in years, and I'm not letting that go." Sophie smiled. "Good," he kissed her forehead. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be complicated." She closed her eyes, feeling safe despite everything he'd told her. Whatever complications came, they'd face them together. The next morning, Sophie woke wrapped in Egyptian cotton sheets in Damon's arms. Sunlight streamed through the windows. The city sprawled below them, snow covering everything in white. Damon was already awake, watching her. "Morning," she murmured. "Morning." His fingers brushed hair from her face. "Sleep okay?" "Better than I have in months." Something warm flickered in his eyes. "Good." Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She reached for it. 3 missed calls from Jules. 2 texts. "Jules. Where are you, Jules? Did boss man kidnap you, or are you living your best life?" Sophie smiled, typing back. "Sophie. Living my best life. I'll call you later." Damon's phone rang next. He grabbed it, frowning at the screen. "Silas," he muttered, answering. "What?" His expression changed instantly. Hardened. "When?" Pause. "How many people know?" Another pause. "I'll be there in an hour." He ended the call. "What's wrong?" Sophie asked. "Someone leaked photos from the gala." He was already getting up, reaching for his clothes. "You and me, the moment in the hallway." Sophie's stomach dropped. "How bad?" "Bad enough that it's on 3 gossip sites and trending on social media." Oh God, he came back to the bed, sitting on the edge. Taking her hands. "Listen to me. This doesn't change anything between us, but it means we need to be strategic." Meaning the office is going to talk. Clients will ask questions. Some people will try to use this against us. "Against you," she corrected. "I'm nobody, you're the one with everything to lose." His jaw clenched. "You're not nobody, and I'm not losing you because of some photos." "What do? We go to work, we act normal, we let them talk." His eyes held hers. "And we make it clear that anyone who has a problem with us can take it up with me directly." Sophie nodded, trying to calm her racing heart. They got ready quickly. Damon drove them both to the office, his hand finding hers in the car. "Whatever happens today," he said, "we're in this together." "Together," she echoed. The lobby felt different when they walked in. People stared, whispered, pulled out phones. Damon's hand stayed on her lower back the entire elevator ride. When the doors opened, Karen was waiting. "You two need to see this," she said, pulling up her tablet. The photos were everywhere. Damon and Sophie in the hallway, his hand on her face, her looking up at him. The moment before the kiss. The headlines were predictable. CEO Damon Kross's secret romance. Assistant or something more? Inside the Kross Dynamics scandal. Sophie's hands shook. "It's not a scandal," Damon said firmly. "It's 2 adults who care about each other." "Try telling the board that," Karen muttered. Silas appeared from the conference room. "We need to talk, now." In the conference room, Silas pulled up more screens. Social media, news sites, commentary. "This is a problem," Silas said bluntly. "People are questioning your judgment, saying you hired her for the wrong reasons. Some are even suggesting she's a plant from a rival organization." "That's ridiculous," Sophie said. "Is it?" Silas challenged. "You show up out of nowhere. 3 days later, you're at his gala. A week later, you're sleeping with him. From the outside, it looks suspicious. From the inside," Damon said coldly, "it looks like none of their business. Your reputation is mine to manage." Damon's voice was steel. "Sophie stays. Anyone who doesn't like it can find other employment." Silas stared at him. "You're serious?" "Completely. You're letting feelings cloud your judgment." "No," Damon said. I'm making a decision based on what matters. And she matters. Sophie's chest tightened. Silas shook his head. This isn't over. The Vanguard has rules about personal entanglements for a reason. Then they can discuss it with me directly. The meeting ended with tension crackling in the air. Back at her desk, Sophie tried to focus. Failed. Her phone kept buzzing with messages. Around noon, Damon called her into his office. She entered, closing the door. "You okay?" he asked immediately. "Honestly, no." He came around the desk. "Talk to me." Everyone's staring, whispering. "I heard 2 people in the break room speculating about how I seduced you to get this job." His jaw clenched. "Give me their names." "Damon." "I'm serious. That won't help. It'll make me feel better." Despite everything, she smiled. "I can handle gossip." "You shouldn't have to." She stepped closer. "This was always going to be complicated. We knew that." "I know. But I hate that you're dealing with this." "So do I." She took a breath. "But I meant what I said last night. I'm not running." He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. "I don't deserve you." "Yes, you do." They stood like that for a moment, the world outside fading. Then someone knocked. "Mr. Kross?" Victoria's voice. "You have a call." "They say it's urgent." Damon pulled back reluctantly. "I have to take this." "I know." She left him to his work, returning to her desk. The afternoon dragged. More calls, more stares, more whispers. By 5, Sophie was exhausted. She packed up her things, ready to escape. "Sophie." She looked up. Damon stood in his doorway. "My place tonight?" Her heart lifted. "Yes." "Good." His eyes softened. "I'll cook." "You cook?" "I'm full of surprises." She smiled despite the terrible day. "I'm starting to notice." That evening, Sophie sat in Damon's kitchen, watching him actually cook. "This is surreal," she said. "What is?" "You, making pasta, looking domestic." He glanced over his shoulder. "I contain multitudes." Apparently. He brought 2 plates to the table, carbonara, wine, simple but perfect. They ate in comfortable silence. "Thank you," Sophie said finally. "For what?" "For not backing down today, for standing up for me." His hand covered hers. "I meant what I said. You matter to me. More than their opinions. More than the gossip. Even if it hurts your business?" "Even then." She looked at him. Really looked. This man who ran a secret network, who made impossible decisions, who could be cold and calculating, and who just cooked her dinner and looked at her like she was the most important thing in his world. "I'm falling for you," she admitted quietly. His breath caught. "Sophie, I know it's fast, I know it's complicated, but it's true." He stood, pulling her up with him, cupping her face in both hands. "I'm already there," he said. "I've been falling since that moment in the bar when you looked at me like I was just a man, not a name, not a title, just me." Her eyes stung. "Damon?" He kissed her, soft, reverent, full of everything he couldn't say. When they broke apart, he pressed his forehead to hers. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Not just tonight. Move in. Be part of my life completely." Her heart stuttered. "That's a big step." "I know. People will talk even more. Let them. Silas will hate it. He'll get over it." Sophie laughed breathlessly. "You're serious?" "Completely." His eyes held hers. "I don't want to waste time pretending this is casual. It's not. You're not. So move in. Let me wake up next to you every morning. Let me come home to you every night." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Yes." His smile was brilliant. "Yes? Yes, you impossible man. Yes." He kissed her again, lifting her up, carrying her toward the bedroom. "We're celebrating," he murmured against her mouth. "Is that what we're calling it?" "Among other things." They fell into bed together, laughter turning into kisses, kisses turning into something deeper. And for the first time in her life, Sophie felt completely, perfectly home. 2 weeks later, Sophie walked into Cross Dynamics with Damon at her side. She'd moved into his penthouse over the weekend. Her toothbrush sat next to his. Her clothes hung in his closet. Her books lined his shelves. They'd stopped hiding. In the office, people still stared. But differently now, with acceptance, maybe even respect. Karen smiled when they passed. "Morning, lovebirds." "Morning, Karen," Sophie called back. At her desk, she found coffee waiting. The good kind, with her name written in Damon's handwriting. Her heart squeezed. Inside his office, Damon pulled her close before anyone could see. "Good morning," he murmured. "Good morning. I left you something in the top drawer of your desk. What is it? Open it and find out." Curious, she went back to her desk and opened the drawer. Inside sat a small velvet box. Her breath caught. She opened it. Not a ring, a key. Her key to his penthouse. Except this one was different. Engraved. Home. Her eyes burned. She looked through the glass wall. Damon was watching. That rare soft expression on his face. She pressed her hand to the glass. He pressed his to match. For a moment they stood like that, connected despite the barrier between them. Then Silas appeared at Damon's door, breaking the moment. Sophie smiled, tucking the key into her pocket. Whatever challenges came, gossip, danger, complications, they'd face them together, because she'd chosen him, and he'd chosen her. And in Damon Kross's complicated, dangerous, beautiful world, that was enough. And that's where we'll leave Sophie and Damon, together, against the world, choosing love even when it's complicated. If this story made you feel something, if you found yourself rooting for them, smiling at their moments, or holding your breath during the tension, please take 2 seconds to hit that like button and subscribe to Aurora Love Stories. We're just getting started here, and having you along for this journey means everything. Drop a comment and let me know. Would you have said yes to Damon? Would you have taken that leap? I love hearing your thoughts. New stories drop every week, so turn on notifications if you want to catch the next one. Thank you for spending this time with me, for letting these characters into your heart. Until next time, keep believing in love, even the complicated kind. See you soon.